honestly feel younger and dumber than the crew we got in the original. And I don't even know how that's possible, but they made it possible. The kids don't know how to be stars no more. And no one looks human. I'm so sorry. Like, no one looks human. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Nikki, and I am here to talk the new Legacy sequel, I Know What You Did Last Summer. This is one of those movies I was ready to hate on. I was like, child, I don't want nothing to do with that movie. But honestly, kind of in the back of my mind, I was hoping it would be one of those movies that you think you're going to hate, but then you watch it and you're like, you know what? I don't hate this. If you are not familiar, let's get into the synopsis for I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025. A group of friends are terrorized by a stalker who knows about a gruesome incident from their past. Now, I am obsessed with I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original from 1997. I was like 11 years old, saw it in theaters with my mother. I also love the sequel from 98, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, look, objectively, the I Know What You Did Last Summer and I Still Know, they're just pretty generic, run of the mill teen 90s teen slashers that, you know, wanted to be Scream. But I have a lot of fun with those movies. I really love those movies. I really enjoy them. This was like the age of Scream, Urban Legend, The Faculty, Disturbing Behavior, Cherry Falls, Halloween H2O came in to do like the teen slasher thing. Jawbreaker, freaking love that movie. Teaching Mrs. Tingle, you know, like teen slashers, teen horror, that was big. That's what the end of the 90s kind of ushered in. And then we kind of continued the trend in the early 2000s. I say on this channel a lot, I hate teenagers. I hate watching anything with teenagers. And I really try to reconcile, am I just old? Because I am 40. Like, am I just old, or is the teen slasher just not hitting like they used to? And the teen slasher is truly a lost art that I'm really not sure can ever be revived. I hated the characters and the casting, and I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025. But they did some good stuff in it. Like, I was honestly pleasantly surprised with some of the swings they took, some bold swings, some of the decisions. But like I said, I was pretty uninterested in this. I was just like, well, let's see what they do. I feel like one big drawback for me with I Know What You Did Last Summer, 25, is the actors, it's the casting. Like, they was just giving mediocre. Like, I'm so sorry. And I recently rewatched The Faculty, and I recently rewatched I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I feel like they felt like teenagers, like they felt like teen stars. Even when you think about when they used to cast like 30-year-olds to play teenagers, like what was the, oh, I just rewatched it because I had a little kick of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and I went to watch the original from the 70s, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I didn't watch the original from, I think it's like the 50s. I meant to. It was on my list, but I didn't get to it. But you know, Body Snatchers from the 90s, and then the Invasion from 2007. The Body Snatchers 90s movie, the girl is supposed to be a teenager, but the actress was like 30 years old. It worked though. It worked. Like, they felt like teens, and they felt like teen stars. And I just feel like we used to have real fucking teen stars. Nobody, like, we don't have the Josh Hartnetts, the Ryan Felipe, the Sarah Michelle Gellar. Like, the kids don't know how to be stars no more. And no one looks human. I'm so sorry. Like, no one looks human. I can't. Ultimately, I actually didn't have the worst time with this movie. It was okay, but I honestly feel like the more I sit with it, the more I don't like it. So basically, I Know What You Did Last Summer, pretty 25. It pretty much runs the exact same as the original with some differences. They've changed up how they do the accident, and I literally only just found out they had a TV show. I had no idea. But there is a I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel that I just never even gave the time of day. I think it's like I Will Always Know. But anyway, I was really curious how they would do the accident to make it like something new and not just a carbon copy. Because, you know, it's not a remake, it's a legacy sequel. So we have a group of friends and they're older. Our original, I Know What You Did Last Summer, they were seniors in high school getting ready to go to college. I Know What You Did Last Summer 25, they're college age teens, not high school teens. But honestly, they don't feel like no, they don't feel like college teens. They honestly feel younger and dumber than the crew we got in the original. And I don't even know how that's possible, but they made it possible. But we end up, and instead of having a group of four where it's like two girl best friends, two guy friends, and we're both in a relationship, we have a five crew in the 25 instead of the original four like we had in the original. And we're all getting together. It's 4th of July. We decide to go watch the fireworks on a cliff, and not just any cliff, but like a really deadly, dangerous curve of the cliff that's notorious for accidents, whatever. And we have one guy who's like playing in the role who had a really cringe little speech he did about missing everybody and being so happy everybody is. It was so cringeworthy. The dialogue and the writing in this movie is really like atrocious. But anyway, he's playing in a role and they're like, hey, you're gonna cause an accident, whatever. Somebody comes flying around this curve. I mean, flying around the curve, driving reckless, and he's in the road, so they like swerve to miss him, end up going off the cliff. But you know how like you are hanging off the cliff, and the crew ends up literally diligently trying to save this person. I mean, like they was really working trying to save this person, but couldn't do it. And it never went anywhere. But while they're trying to save the person, the jock guy jacket goes down in an accident. And I thought that would mean something later, come back around. It never did. Don't know what the point was of him losing his jacket. But his dad is like the mayor, child, because that's how they treat him in the movie. Rich, so he's like, hey, let's not wait for the cops. And one girl who's the fifth member of the crew had a drug problem, went to rehab, just got her life together. She's like, this could be bad for me. So we decide to leave, but Buddy's gonna call the cops, and he like walks away from them to call the cops. So I was just like, he ain't calling nobody. He's not calling for help, because why you had to walk away from everybody? But as they're driving off, he did call for help. We see the sirens and everyone coming. So that was honestly, I like that they changed it, but at the same time, it kind of annoyed me. These kids ain't even really do nothing. They ain't even really do nothing. I like that we had our first group. They literally murdered that man. They hit him with the car and then drove and dumped his body when they knew he was still alive. Like they committed a murder. I like that. I want to follow real low moral type characters. These characters, honestly, they ain't do nothing. Like they didn't stay at the scene of the crime, but they literally tried vehemently. Jesus, I couldn't think of what word I was trying to say. They really tried vehemently to get that man. Like they were really trying to save him. Y'all, these little twiggy girls is trying to pull the whole truck with their body. And then we call the ambulance. Us staying at the scene wouldn't have changed anything. Like that little moral ambiguous, like they didn't stay at the scene. Honestly, that ain't mean nothing. These kids literally didn't do anything. And the driver was driving like a maniac around a deadly curve. That kind of annoyed me. And then we have a few instances in the movie where it kind of comes up. Like, for example, Jennifer Love Hewitt's character asks, what did you do last summer? It's never answered. The movie never answers what they did last summer because the motherfuckers ain't do nothing. Like, that's how I felt. They ain't even do nothing. I feel like the original, it was not a genuine, like, accident. They murdered that man. In I Know 25, it was a genuine accident. And a lot of the fault, I guess we'll say 50-50 fault. Because I really want to say a lot of the fault was on the baby driving like a maniac around the curve. I don't know why y'all have to drive so crazy. But this was a genuine accident, and they genuinely tried to get the person help. So I like how dark the original is, where these teens legitimately killed somebody. I just prefer following bad people. So anyway, that happens. We jump forward 1 year later. And of course, all of a sudden, we get a note that says, "I know what you did last summer," and then everybody starts dying off one by one, and that's pretty much the movie. So let's get into some elements and my thoughts on them. First of all, the kills. I thought they were pretty uninspired kills. I wasn't impressed. I didn't feel like we went bolder. I didn't really feel like it was like more aggressive or more brutal. Like it just was more of the same, really. Of course, he has a hook, but there was different methods of like killing people. So the first person that gets killed is the blonde chick, has a new fiance, and he's downstairs while she's taking a bath. And I did like the visuals of this where she's using like, I think it was like a bath bomb, but it was red. So it looks like, it's giving you like blood that she's soaking in. And the fiance is downstairs, and all of a sudden, out of like from like the dark, he gets shot with what do you call those things? They use it later in the movie, like some kind of like arrow that you can like shoot. And it kind of annoyed me because he gets shot and he goes to get dragged, but he's able to hold on, so the little hook thingy comes out of him, and he's literally staring into the darkness at the exact place the arrow came from for a really long time. Why would I do that? Wouldn't I think, hey, let me run, let me get away? Because just as surely as this arrow came at me, all of a sudden, can it just come back again? That just really kind of annoyed me. And also his dialogue when he was getting killed felt very unserious. And I'm not a fan of really unserious dialogue when characters are dying. It takes me out of it. No one's gonna be comedic when you're literally dying, bruh. I feel like it only worked for me one time. And I hate to even credit this movie because I hate this movie, but Scream 4, I really don't like that movie. But when Anthony Anderson character is getting killed after him and his partner was talking about, the cops never survive in these situations unless you're Bruce Willis. Then when Anthony Anderson is getting killed, he's like, fuck Bruce Willis. Okay, I'll give you that. Again, no one's going to be funny when they're getting killed. Very unserious. I really don't like unserious when people are dying, but I'll give you that. That kind of works. But when he's getting killed, he's like, what the, bro? Take my crypto. I just was like, I would be screaming for my fiance. I would be screaming for help. I would be like, please don't kill. It just felt very unserious, and I didn't like that. And then also, it was so many elements in the movie that felt unserious, and it felt like it didn't fit the moment or the circumstance. For example, after her fiance is killed, she's like, am I a widow now? And yeah, but you're like a hot widow. Someone is dead. Someone you loved is murdered. The person you are going to marry, your fiance, like this is so I just feel like if my fiance, if someone I love was just murdered, I'm not going to be unserious and be like, am I a widow? Oh, you're a hot widow. I don't know. It was quite a few moments like that, and we'll get to one at the end later. But there were some very unserious moments that just didn't. Tonally, the movie just felt really off to me. I was like, "Yo, are we supposed to take this situation serious or nah?" So we have another character who pops up the 1 year later, who's this podcast chick, and y'all, I don't know nobody's name. Nobody is worthy of like me remembering their name. I don't remember nobody's name. The podcast chick was the only character that I felt I could kind of like. None of the characters were good, but the podcast chick felt like a character that tried to have a little personality, that the actress actually felt like she had some kind of screen presence or charisma, like tried to bring something the best she could with the material given. She also had irksome dialogue, but the actress had a charm to her that made her likable. But we have a scene where her and a dark-haired girl go to, because the podcast girl has like a true crime podcast, which I would have liked to delve into that more. Like I would have loved to have a character that's a true crime podcaster that actually kind of lasted longer in the movie and made it kind of maybe even a little meta, like how it gets really tired in Scream, but I feel like if you could go this route, it would breathe a little new life into it. But you know how Scream does the whole like We got to have the proverbial sit down, try to figure out the horror movie rules and who's the killer. That it gets so old. Like when we did at Scream 6, I was just like, okay, y'all. But I feel like if we could have done something along those lines with the podcast True Crime Girl, I feel like that could have actually been really cool and really useful, especially because she comes to this town because she's doing an episode on the crimes and massacre that happened in 97. Like we could have really had some time. I don't know. I feel like that was like a real missed opportunity to like just kill her off so quick. I kind of felt like she ain't doing it. Like, what was she here for? Like, how did we utilize this? But it also annoyed me when she gets killed because she's in there with the dark haired girl, and the killer traps the dark haired girl, which is for all intents and purposes the actual target, traps her in this cage. Why was the cage there? Who knows? Traps her in this cage. But instead of, oh, I finally trapped my fish in the bucket, let me go after my target, the killer decides, no, I'm gonna leave my true target and I'm gonna go chase after this podcast. That, I'm sorry, that didn't make no sense. I'm so sorry, but that did not make any sense whatsoever that the killer would work to avoid their actual target, the person who did something last summer, to go after the podcast girl. I would be focused on the person that I actually want to get the revenge on. The podcast girl just happens to be there. I feel like this is different from the fiance. The fiance makes sense. Even before we get to the end to find out the motive, killing someone close to the person I'm getting revenge for, obviously that's tried true revenge, to kill somebody that's close to the person I want to hurt. But this random podcast girl, and then to have to like go out of your way to like go after her and leave away from, nah, it ain't make no sense, bro. Again, it was just a generic kill just in general. But like we trapped the dark haired girl in the cage while he's off trying to kill the podcast girl. I don't know why a cage is here, but she trapped in the cage. But not only is just a random cage here, she easily escapes the cage. If the entire purpose was to kill, because we find this out at the end, let's just get to the motive. The drug addict girl is the one killing everybody because she knew Buddy that died in the car accident, okay? And her whole thing was she wanted to save the two girls for last and kill the men they were close to and that they loved so they would know how she felt. Okay, whatever. So if the entire purpose of this revenge is to kill the boys that the girls care about, why attack them? Why even attempt like you're going to try to kill them if that ain't your intent? Why go after the dark-haired girl if the whole purpose was just to kill Buddy that was her ex-boyfriend? Then something else that annoyed me was we was doing a lot of splitting up for people that had a murderer after them. Like we're being very cavalier for people who had like their lives on the line. So we're trying to figure out, hey, let's figure out who's close to the person that's died. We can figure out who's trying to kill us. So the blonde haired chick, and since when have we not killed the dumb blonde character trope? Like this girl was such just an epitome dumb blonde, but anyway, she was so annoying. Anyway, she goes to the cemetery with her ex, the blackish guy who's like the jock, you know, the Ryan Felipe knockoff character. And we go to the cemetery. Someone has been putting flowers on the guy's grave. Let's find out who it is. They split up. He go with the person that's supposed to be looking at the cameras who gets killed. That really made no sense. Really, all you had to do was kill Buddy that was finna go look, because the caretaker don't know who the hell you are. Even if he sees you on the camera leaving flowers, that won't mean no never mind to him. That it just made no sense to kill him. Just go ahead and kill the blackish guy because that's your whole target and motive. But anyway, they split up there. But while they split up, the killer goes after the blonde girl. Like, is really trying to kill. This felt like, oh, he is trying to kill her or she. But your whole motive was to have them suffer by killing their men first. Why didn't she kill the blackish guy Ron Felipe knockoff in the cemetery instead of going after the blonde girl that you don't even want to kill right now. I just don't like when stuff don't add up. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Also, why was there like a Croaker Queen stage in a shed at the cemetery? I ain't understand that. Like, wasn't that what we was looking at? They had the whole staging and everything in there. Anyway, they end up going back to the house. They both survive. The blackish guy comes out, kind of hits the killer. Killer runs off. We get back to the blonde girl house. No one sleeps alone. Let's stay together. They split up again. The dark haired girl is about to have sex with her ex boyfriend, but she does some little freaky stuff that he like, oh, I don't know nothing about this. So he like, I gotta get my phone charger. Somebody is trying to kill you, and you traipse off by yourself at night to the car to get the charger. When we all pulled up to the house, why didn't you bring your charger in the house? This is someone who's rich in a big ass house. They don't have an extra charger nowhere on the property. This just annoyed me so bad, y'all. Like, they were just being so cavalier for people that had somebody trying to kill them. So of course the killer kills him, strangles him again. No big thrill with the kill, but this didn't make any sense. Along with that jacket that fell in a crash, this went nowhere. When the killer kills off the girl, this guy hides the body, texts the girl as if the killer is him. Oh, I'm just finna go. I'll get back. The killer let all the other dead bodies get found. Why hide this person's death? Why randomly later leave his car with the dead body for them to just find? Like, there was no rhyme or reason for why they didn't just leave the body there for them to immediately know he was dead. We did nothing with that. Literally, we did nothing with that. I was like, okay, so are they gonna text him thinking he's alive, saying, hey, come meet us here, and that's how the killer will know how to find it? Like, what? We did nothing with this. What was the point? And I don't like watching a movie and stuff just happens and there's no point. There was no point to this. Now, when the blackish guy, Jock guy, died, that was actually kind of sad. And I actually feel like that was a good little kill, especially because I feel like we got no iconic chase scene in this movie. And I guess this was the closest we could get. So the blackish Ron Felipe knockoff Jock style guy wants to go to the gym again. I don't know why we is traipsing and doing all kind of stuff by ourselves. He lounging in the motherfucking sauna. Now, I'm gonna give it to you that you want to go to the gym so that you can fight, against the killer. But baby, why is you lounging in the sauna, resting your like? Yeah. And then not only were they being cavaliers, traipsing off by themselves, just acting real willy nilly. Nobody got no kind of weapon. Like, we rich. Ain't nobody walking around with a gun. Ain't nobody got a knife, little pocket knife, switchblade, nothing. And we know someone is trying to kill us. So the blackish guy ends up getting attacked by the killer, gets stabbed a few times, but he's fighting, he punching, he goes to run towards the house. He sees like his mom. It was definitely giving Drew Barrymore in Scream when she was like, Mom, when she was so close when her parents was coming up, because he saw his mom up in the window and he's like, Mom. But he ends up getting killed. And I didn't realize how kind of endeared I kind of got to this character, because I thought his death was kind of sad. But what really added that element to make it sad was as he's laying there bleeding to death and dying, his dad pops up and has to see his child dying. Then the dad gets killed. I kind of thought that was kind of sad, but I said all the kills were pretty blasé. One thing I did like was after the dad and his son are killed, they end up hanging for the whole town to see. That was kind of cool. I kind of like that. Now, outside of the kills, like I said, let's get into. I said I didn't really care for the characters, so let's get into them. Oh God, I just feel like folks don't know how to write teenagers no more. Like, I just really do. First of all, they made this generation look dumb as hell. That's number one. Dumb, vapid, like ain't got the sense God gave a duck. But I just really need somebody to please For the love of God. For the love of God. Teach a class on how to write actual human being, well rounded teen characters, not cardboard cutout one dimensional characters. Every single person in the main five crew feels like literal knockoff bargain brand versions of the original four. Literally, you can just draw a line to who each character is. The knockoff bargain brand, Walmart brand, Helen Shivers was the dumb blonde. The obvious knockoff version of Julie James, the obvious knockoff version of Ray, the obvious knockoff version of Ryan Felipe Jock character. Like, please, can we do better? And they were, of all the characters, they were really pushing it with the dumb blonde being our new Helen Shivers. Even having her survive at the end, because that's a big thing with fans, is that Helen Shivers should have been a final girl, right? That's the one thing of, like, but it was absolutely giving. Your mom's no Sharon Stone said, like, it was 100% giving that. I couldn't stand that blonde girl. She could have evaporated and I literally wouldn't have cared at all. Not one bit. And I absolutely love Sarah Michelle Gellar. Love, love, love. I love Helen Shivers. I was not in the club that she should have been a final girl. I love Jennifer Love Hewitt. Julie James as a character is pretty blasé, but I love Jennifer Love Hewitt. I have no problems with Helen Shivers dying. I don't have a problem with my beloved characters getting killed. I just feel like they need to have a kill worthy of them. It reminds me of when the Black Slayer, I forget her name, was killed on Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show by Drusilla. It pissed me off so bad. I love that girl. And if y'all are going to kill her off, she should have went out like a triple double OG. She shouldn't have went out like she did. That's kind of how I feel about Helen Shivers. She dies. She has an iconic slasher chase. Like, my thing, people always harp on Helen Shivers doing the look back. That look back is not why she died. That little 2-second look back is not why she died. I cannot stand the way Helen Shivers died because it's not logical. She was on the second floor, went out the window, went out the alley in the back of the store. The killer would have had to go down back to the first floor, go out the front of the store, go around the whole block to get to that back alley in front of Helen Shivers and hide behind them tires. There's no way he did that. My girl should have lived because that made no sense. But everybody was literally giving knockoff of the original characters. I just feel like all of the actors, I'm so sorry, the performances just felt so uninspiring and dull. Very dull to watch. Also, the dark-haired girl, speaking of cardboard cutout characters, why did we have the sexually fluid character portrayed as like some kind of sexual deviant, and like it's never really explained or goes anywhere? She has sex with the podcast girl, like this like rough sex thing. Then when she goes to have sex with her ex-boyfriend, she's also doing this rough sex thing, like choke me, I should be punished. And they never tell us where this comes from, because she's had sex with an ex-boyfriend before, but he don't know nothing about her doing this. He's like shocked and like, ugh, when she says all that stuff. So this is new, but we don't know. It's just we never talk about it, never address it, never like. I don't understand. But then also, while they was having sex anyway, when someone is trying to murder you, made no sense. Like, y'all, I'm talking about the way they would just hang about town. Really was. I was on 10. I would love to see a horror movie like this where it's a slasher. We're getting stalked. We know we're dying one by one. And we at the motherfucking gun range. We buying them up. What gun can I get in 24 motherfucking hours? Which gun I don't have to wait for? Like, get something to prepare. Like, I don't know. So, as we're talking about the characters, of course, we have to get into our legacy characters. So, I think it was the dark-haired girl, the sexual deviant, the Julie James knockoff that tracks down Julie James. And I really enjoyed Oh, what's Ray real name? I know his name. Oh, my mind just blanked. Freddie Prinze Jr. Jesus Christ. I really enjoyed Freddie Prinze Jr. I really enjoyed Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like I love the look. I just told y'all the era I grew up in when I was 11 years old, watching all the little teen stuff. Love those two. Love Freddie Prinze Jr. Love Jennifer Love Hewitt. I watch her today on that 911 show. I really enjoyed them. Honestly, they didn't really give Julie much to do, but it was really enjoyable and refreshing seeing her. And they had gave her some cool stuff to do when she does the whole "What are you waiting for?" I'm sorry, that worked for me. I'm so sorry, but when Ray is trying to kill her and she's like, "What are you waiting for?" That worked on me. Iconic. I'm so sorry. It worked on me. We did. I said we didn't really give Julie nothing to do. Oh, but we gave Ray something to do. Okay. And when we first see Freddie Prinze Jr., he was looking all rough and gruff, definitely giving us Scream 5 Dewey. But I was like, where Freddie Prinze Jr. voice gets so deep? We end up where the drug addict girl works for Ray and he knew her father and promised to take care of her. And he's like, I'm not going to let anything happen to you. He ends up being her partner and he's killing with her because she wants to get revenge for what happened to her boyfriend. And the whole motive is Ray is like, they need to pay for what they did. But his motive is also the town forgot about us, what happened to us in 97. Whatever. Like, I'll go with it. I don't care. Like, I'll be honest. I don't care. I didn't really feel very nitpicky on the motive here at all, like in the slightest. They definitely hammered home the whole trauma changes people as a way for the audience to accept Ray being the killer. Y'all ain't even have to do that to me. Y'all had me at Ray is the killer. Like, I love that. I love that. And I feel like it makes sense. First of all, Ray has always been a follower, never had a backbone. I can buy it. What I don't buy is the hate and animosity between Julie and Ray. And yes, they've always had like a not, the most rosy relationship, but it kind of felt out of nowhere. Given where we last see them at the end of I Still Know to now having Ray say like, the girl is like, you were married to Julie. Unfortunately, I don't know. It just felt like so out of nowhere, given where we last saw them. But also, why did baby say that like that? The way old girl said, you were married to Julie, bitch, you just met her 2 scenes ago. Like, I don't know. The way she said it was kind of like oh, you don't even know her. What you mean? But anyway, I actually really enjoy him being the killer. I do wish the whodunit aspect was a lot better. I feel like the podcast girl could have lived longer for the reasons I said, but also she could have been a cool red herring. The new fiance could have been a cool like red herring. And I don't like when a podcast girl gets killed and she unmasks the killer and she's like, you? I wish the whodunit could have been stronger. But with the Ray being the killer, I feel like it's a bold swing. I think it works. Ray has always been a follower. He let Ryan Felipe character Barry yoke his girlfriend the hell up and ain't do nothing. He's never had a spine or backbone. I feel like becoming a killer makes sense. He can finally feel like he has power. Like, I buy it. I do feel very annoyed with the fact that the movie makes certain people conveniently strong and makes certain people conveniently weak when they want. When we get to the third act and the dark-haired girl is not the dark-haired girl, the druggy girl who's the killer is on the boat with the dark-haired girl and the blonde, and they get into the fight on the boat. You was able to kill everybody else the whole movie. You couldn't kill these two. Like, the fight was honestly the fight was looked like she should have been you was able to well, maybe that was Ray that killed the blackish guy and the dad, but I'm just like, baby. And then when Ray is in the bar at the end with the dark haired girl and she's able to kind of fight him off a bit until Julie comes in, it just felt like, Ray, you couldn't kill this little girl. Ray, you couldn't kill her. So we get to the third act. We're on the boat. The blonde girl literally gets ripped down the center and tossed in the water by the druggy girl. Ray shoots her because at this point the movie doesn't tell you he's the killer. And then he takes the dark haired girl back to his bar, but she's able to discover he's the killer, and he makes a flippant comment to her when she's like, "Well, why did you kill your partner? Did I?" Makes no sense. No, we're on a boat in the middle of the ocean. No one's here. Me and my partner could have just killed the blonde girl and the dark haired girl and called it a motherfucking day. I don't understand. Like, and the cops did. We had a little fake ass red herring with this pastor that was connected to the kid that died. The cops go there and notice a picture of the druggy girl, and they end up knowing, like, going after her as the killer. And maybe Ray doesn't want to be associated, but you're already associated. Y'all are close. You're her boss. I just feel like it made no sense for him to like shoot her on the boat. We could have killed both the girls we came here to kill. Ray could have gave, but old girl the heads up. The cops know it's you. We got to get you somewhere. And then Ray could spin a tail to the cops. It just didn't make any sense that he shot his partner. But once they're in his bar, Julie James pops up after he stabs the dark-haired girl like in the shoulder. So she's behind him as he's talking to Julie, and she ends up picking up like the little spear gun arrow shooty thing that the fiance got killed with. That really irked me. And that's why I said the movie just made people conveniently weak, conveniently strong when they wanted to. Ray should have been able to kill that girl. All you did was stab her. That ain't a death. You stabbed the other person. When is the dad in the throat? Like, you know how to kill somebody. You a fisherman gutting fish all the time. That just really felt like sloppy work to me. And nowhere else in the movie did we do sloppy work. And then this is like a big little jump. You didn't hear her pick that thing up. You ain't got to cock it or nothing. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. Also, speaking of characters, love the Carla cameo, love the Brandy cameo 100%. I hate the way they end the movie. I feel like the post-credit scene with Julie, that could have been the final scene of the movie. We have to make that the post-credit. That could have just been the final scene of the movie. There's also a scene that really irked me where the dark-haired girl and the blonde goes to the police station to tell them that they think that pastor or preacher or whatever is the killer. And they're locked in this room, and the dark-haired girl phone battery is about to die. So she asks the blonde about her phone, and she's like, "Oh, I left my phone in the car." This generation ain't going nowhere without their phone. I do not buy people this young leaving their phone in the car. Not at all. No, no, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Also, in this moment, the police chief calls the blackish kid dad, who acts like I said, like the damn mayor. He's able to tell the chief of police to lock victims up, lock innocent girls up, and just wield the power of the police force. And the police chief just agrees. But as they're in there, the blonde, fake ass, bargain brand, Walmart brand Helen Shivers character has this little fever dream. And y'all already know I hate a dream sequence in horror. But I love Sarah Michelle Gellar. Love. But no, this dream sequence was not it. And then it maybe could have worked if somebody else had a dream, and if the dream didn't go on as long as it did. It does feel like the filmmakers are very in tune with how the fans feel about Helen Shivers, but also the Helen Shivers t-shirt, the podcast girl, it was too much. Okay, like, y'all, we went a little too far. But with this, I also hate that I kind of feel like we completely forget about Ryan Felipe. Like, everybody gets to come back except Ryan Felipe. He just gets a little picture. He just gets a little picture. Why not write in a fever dream where the blackish kid sees dead Ryan Felipe? Since we just having folks have fever dreams of folks they ain't never even met before, why not throw that in there? And that's also why this dream made no sense. I could see if maybe Julie had a dream and Helen Shivers came to her, but the blonde chick didn't even know Helen Shivers existed until a few scenes prior. Why is she popping up in her dream? I don't, y'all, it just ain't make no sense to me. It just ain't make no sense. But, oh, And what I was trying to say about the movie making people conveniently weak, conveniently strong, it just felt like too orchestrated and convenient that the final two kills fail. Every kill in the movie goes off without a hitch. These killers are very efficient, but the blonde chick somehow survives, getting ripped the hell open and tossed in the ocean, and then killing the dark haired girl. That, like, it just felt too convenient that the final two kills just failed. What also didn't make any sense is they both are in the hospital and leaving the hospital together. One person got stabbed in the shoulder, which I feel like maybe you'd be in a hospital for maybe 2 days, but the other person got gutted. Their guts got sliced up. I would think you'd be in a hospital for a little bit longer than just a few days, but they just come strolling out together and they look perfectly fine. They don't look hurt. They don't look like they left the hospital with no pain meds, no instructions to change bandages. Like they just look cool. They like they cool in it. Also, when I said about Carla, Julie goes to see Carla because she got a note with a picture of her and Carla. Like, this ain't over. So Ray must be alive, because why would the ex drug addict girl give a crap about Carla? How would she even know she exists? How would she have a picture of her? Has to be Ray. Then what I was saying earlier about the movie totally feeling off and stuff being too lighthearted, and I said we get to it at the end. So the final scene has the dumb blonde character and the dark haired girl sitting together, and it ends with the two girls having a conversation, and it just feels too lighthearted for the ordeal they just went through. Y'all were just attempted murder. Like, someone tried to murder y'all. People y'all love have been murdered, and it just felt totally off. And I think it was the blonde haired girl who said something very ugh. She said something like, this could be, what did she say? This could have been avoided if only men would go to therapy. First of all, that felt so out of the blue and so out of, huh? What are we talking about? What? But then it also didn't make sense because, well, your girlfriend, your homegirl, was one of the killers. What that got to do with me going to therapy? And then also, you and y'all friends dipped at the scene of an accident. Like, everything that popped off the series of events has absolutely nothing to do with men going to therapy. I was just like, child, if y'all don't go to hell, like, I'm so sorry. I feel like ultimately, I Know What You Did 25. The movie had some good stuff. I hated all the actors and characters in the friend group. I hated the dialogue. I also hate that the blonde girl popped up and wasn't really dead. Killed that bitch off. Like, she's not Helen Shivers. She's not. I didn't see this in theaters, but I highly doubt that was a moment where everybody was cheering. Like, I legit have vivid memories of watching Scream 2 in theaters, and when we find out that we think Dewey's dead, and then he comes out on the stretcher, everyone literally cheered, y'all. I really highly doubt that happened when this blonde girl popped up. We didn't care about her. I really hate that we didn't get a really good chase scene in here. My favorite line of the whole entire movie was when Julie was like, fuck 4th of July. I love that. I love that. Ultimately, I rated this a 3 out of 5 when I watched it. I put a 3 out of 5 on Letterboxd, but I feel like that was too generous. I feel like a solid 2 out of 5 is how I feel. I feel like I gave it an extra star because I did like Ray being the killer. I thought that was a really bold move. The Scream franchise would never. So I just feel like it was a bold swing. I really love making a legacy character a villain. I really love that they included 3 really classic legacy characters. I'm not counting Helen Shivers because that dream sequence didn't make any sense. And I feel like they at least tried to do something different and tried not to just do the regular old run-of-the-mill formula. It was a very run-of-the-mill formula. But making Ray the killer, making a legacy character the killer is what I'm referring to. So I feel like in the moment, I had some enjoyment with this movie. It wasn't terrible. It didn't suck. Not like I thought it would. But honestly, the more I sit with it, the less I like it. But thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please drop down in the comments and let me know how you felt about I Know What You Did Last Summer 25. Are you a fan of the original OG? Or, because I mean, look, y'all, it's mediocre. Like, by standards, it's mediocre. But I have so much fun with that movie. Thank you so much. I will see you in the next one.